Throughout the years of Yu-Gi-Oh, there has always been an established meta. And that meta goes on to influence what people typically play at the larger events. But what if you took a list of every deck from the September 2011 meta, randomized them, and put them into their own single elimination bracket tournament, allowing for exactly one of every different type of deck to be represented? In this series, Joe and I will be playing out a full single elimination bracket tournament. Each week, Joe and I will be playing a different deck, and whatever deck wins will move on, and whatever deck loses will be eliminated. The goal of this series is to see if the traditional meta will reign supreme, or if a new champion will be crowned. Be prepared for jank winning, meta losing, and for the format as we know it to be turned upside down. Welcome to the Tournament of Tournaments.
Hello everyone. For those who don't remember me, my name's Dave. I was the resident Nordic expert for this format. So today I'll be playing a completely different deck though, which is Worms, which is a series of light reptile monsters with a pretty control heavy focus. Kind of similar to TG, where you want to draw not too many monsters and have multiple traps to control the pace of the game. So here's the deck list I'm going to be using today. We're having first two Worm Kings. Back in the day, we didn't have that much thought as to number of bricks that you could play. This is not a total brick, as it can be summoned by attributing only one monster, so it's kind of a glorified summon skull. But he's here to really benefit a lot from Meteorite, which is the best card in the deck. Speaking of the best card in the deck, the other best card in the deck is Worm Zex. So if you're a good Worm player, you want to open with this card. It sets up your deck completely, as it gives you both a stick to try and get ahead on life points, try and chip away at your opponent. 1800 is pretty big, and it's pretty big in usually most formats. And it pairs with Worm Yagen, which you're also playing 3 of. Obviously, you want to start with Zex, but just opening Yagen is fine. Has solid body, bounces an opponent's monster. And then there's 3 Worm Karros. Karros and Yagen, and by extension Zex, since it sets up Yagen, is what makes Meteorite so good. So ideally, what you want happening is to have a monster that is not threatened by your opponent, so that you could flip it with Meteorite and have it stick around until the end phase to flip it back face down and draw a card or multiple cards and summon Worm King. So all the Yagen and Karros and Zex, by extension, fill the part of fulfilling the conditions for a monster to be face down to be flipped with Meteorite. Add to that, Thunder King Ryo, good control tool. Your deck's whole light, you play Honest, obviously. Morphing Jars into an interesting tech here. As with most trap decks, you're going to commit more to the field, so it's a good way to refuel. It's like another way to play around Heavy Storm as well, because you do have some Judgment Starlight Road to protect you from a Heavy Storm in the format, which is the bane of control decks. You could commit more when you have Jar. Even if you get Stormed, as long as Jar goes off, you're going to refuel your hand and still be able to play, and then you won't have the fear of Storm anymore. Then few staples: Reborn Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Mystical Space Typhoon. To have the option somewhere in your deck, just one copy, so that you can grind it out and eventually get to it if there's something that's stopping you from winning. Duality 3 Dimensional Prisons, as well as 3 Offering to Snake Deity and Mirror Force. All cards that allow you to protect a monster. Usually trap decks like Simplified Game States, all of those cards help you attain that goal. Bottomless Trap Hole, Sign Warning, and then Starlight Road, and the One Vanity's Emptiness. Extra deck, like, probably won't be going to that a whole lot. You could sometimes maybe go for a rank 4, or you could get Tuner with Monster Reborn. Thing to note is this card, Genix Ally Triforce. In this particular build, there's no tuners, but you could play Genix Ally Birdman in this deck, which with any one of them worms allows you to summon this card, which is a once per turn summon a worm from your graveyard in face down defense position, which pairs very well with Karros and Yagan. This card is a card advantage machine, but Birdman is a combo card in a control deck, so you could see how it would be awkward sometimes. For side deck, we have a few options, debunks, which I do intend to bring in for today's game. And then King Tiger Wangus are probably going to be going in as well for today's game, probably taking the place of obviously MST and Thunder King Ryo, which I do think is weaker in the matchup that we're going to have. So thanks again to Tyler for having me, and see you next time.
All right, today we are busting out the fish. This is a very interesting deck. It was more so popular in Edison, where Fishboard Blaster was around. Unfortunately, Fishboard Blaster is banned, but the deck can still actually function in this format just fine. Losing Fishboard definitely hurts, but resolving Super Ancient Deep Sea King Kalel-Kanth, it's really hard to pronounce that card, is kind of crazy. Its effect is, if you don't know, you discard one card, special summon as many level 4 lower fish-type monsters as possible from your deck. They can't declare an attack, and their effects are negated. So the one thing that's really nice about this card is the fact that when you use its effect to special summon, you can basically get 2 synchros out of the deal, right? So typically what I do is I'll summon a Golden Flying Fish, an Oyster Meister, and 2 Royal Swamp Eels. And what this card says is Golden Flying Fish says you contribute 1 other fish monster, then target 1 card on the field, destroy that target. So what you do is you just use its effect. Even though its effect is negated, you can pay costs by attributing the Oyster Monster or Oyster Meister. And when this says, if this card is sent from field to graveyard, except when destroyed by battle, special summon an Oyster token, level 1, 0/0. So what that does is it gives you a level 1 token, plus a level 4 tuner, and then a level 4 monster with a level 4 tuner. So typically I'll make a 5 and an 8, so I'll go into Librarian, as well as another synchro, and then you get to draw a card. So typically you'll make a Stardust and draw a card, which means you can kind of protect your board, and then if this thing can stick, you can actually go off and do it again on the next turn, summoning whatever you have left, which isn't bad. So yeah, it's really cool. Kind of plays like a standard frog engine. The real downside to this is, independently, outside of summoning off the resolution of this card, all of these fish monsters in here, so the Swamp Eels, the Oyster Meisters, the Abyssal King Shark, and the Golden Flying Fish, all these cards are mega useless on their own. So you're basically running about 7 bricks in the deck. We do run things like Moray of Greed to kind of help fix that. This is why we only run the 1 Golden Flying Fish. It's really nice to get the 5 and the 8, which is why you run the 1 of. And its effect can technically come up where you contribute a fish on the field and destroy something, but probably not. But yeah, so we run Moray Agreed to put these cards back and, draw cards. But for the most part, your goal is just to use your Frog Engine to, play for tribute summons. We run Mobius because it can be discarded for Swap Frog to special summon. And in reality, one of your best plays is to try to make this combo happen turn 1 by pitching Swap Frog and another Frog and, using Ronin Toad and doing shenanigans, basically. So yeah, that is kind of what fish do. So it either succeeds and we pop off, or it doesn't and we lose. And we're going to find out what we're doing today right now. All right, Tournament of Tournaments, episode 25. We got Dave back again for another episode. Apparently Joe has a family that loves him, and we're recording this on Thanksgiving, so what a nerd, right? But we're gonna see if the worms can take revenge on the fish, being eaten by them all those years, or if the fish will get baited by the worms. Who knows? But yeah, how you feeling today, Dave? Thank you for showing up on Thanksgiving to play.
Thank you for inviting me again. I do feel pretty great about playing Worms. I didn't play it myself back in the day. My favorite testing partner used to play it a lot, and by a lot I mean all the time. and it kind of went like a trial by fire. So at this point, I should be able to run this deck no problem.
Nice. That's good to know. All right, well, we'll do the old RPS here. We'll see what we can do. You said you were the paper master, so we'll take going first here because
I didn't think.
I don't want to.
I didn't think you'd remember that.
Oh, I got punished by it the last time. All right, we'll draw for turn, and oh wow, we are looking pretty strong with this one. I'm going to normal summon Abyssal King Shark, and I'm gonna pass. So we're really reaching for the stars.
All right. I'll draw. I think I'll start us off with good old Worm Zex.
I was really hoping you weren't going to start off with good old Worm Zex. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll send Yagan to the graveyard.
Sure.
I'll activate Yagan.
Sure.
I'm coming in for Abyssal King Shark.
I'll take the 100.
Alright. I'll set one back row and end my turn.
We'll draw. Okay. That's playable. Kind of. I will normal summon Deep Sea Diva.
That is fine.
Activate the effect.
Yep.
Okay. This actually is kind of big-brained, I think. I will special summon Lost Blue Breaker. I will enter battle phase, and I'll have Lost Blue Breaker attack Worm Zex. Your response.
I'm really wondering why you do that, but there has to be a reason, and that's probably the best I'll get out of this card.
Prison. Okay, cool. I will chain enemy controller, tributing my Lost Blue Breaker, taking your Zex.
That was the point. Alright. Alright.
Alright, then I will...
I got played.
Well, see, the original plan was to change your Zex to defense and then pop the back row with Lost Blue Breaker, so you would be forced to bounce my Diva back to hand, potentially. But this is much worse, but it's still fine. Now I gotta go main phase 2, yeah. Because I can't attack, because now you can just bounce your Zex, and that's way worse for me. So we will go take a look into the extra deck. I almost have to go Bryanak just to bounce your thing, but that feels really bad. You know what? We're gonna do it. Alright, you know what? We're gonna pitch a card to bounce it.
You're really sure it goes back to my hand? I would assume it would get banished anyway.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty certain it gets banished.
Oh yeah, it does. I just checked rulings. It is banished still. Okay. Well, that's a lot better for me then. In that case, I will pass.
Alright, so I will set a monster. And discard. And I'll pass my turn.
Alright, I'll draw... Well, I'm gonna use Brian X effect.
Yes.
I'll bounce the set card. I'll swing in for 23.
Ouch. My face. I need that.
Nice. Alright, we'll go main 2, and I'm gonna fire a Pot of Avarice.
That is fine.
Nice. Okay.
And here I was hoping you'd lack ammo at some point.
Draw 2. Well, his hand just keeps getting better and better. We'll just pass back to you again. Low-key just amazed that I haven't seen a Treeborn Frog. Or a Swamp Frog. Alright.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah? I'll activate the effect. I'll just keep pitching useless cards to bounce your set monster. As long as I can prevent you from going
So
off.
that's how Abyssal King Shark's supposed to be used. All right.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah, you use him as a way to -1. Right. Draw. Jesus. We'll keep going. Bounce. I'll bounce everything.
All right.
Attempt game.
Yes.
No way. What did you have?
I had a pair of Thunder King Ryo. I just drew a Worm Exex. The monster you keep bouncing was Yagan, and the other cards were Warning, Bottomless, and Vanity's Emptiness.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I did not see the Bryanak just being the most OP card in the game working out here, but I guess it just worked out here. So we'll go into game 2 and see if I can continue that luck of just bricking but somehow winning. All right. Game 2. There's no way I brick again with all the fish bricks in my deck, right?
All right. Yeah. I do remember being good at worms.
Oh, that is pretty good at worm. Yeah, it resolves too.
If I could just win. I'll activate Yagan.
Yeah. Just need to make another Bryanak and I'm safe, right?
Yeah, that's the game plan.
Alright. Standby main phase.
Yes.
Jesus, this hand is ass. I'm gonna foolish.
That is fine.
And I will dump a Treeborn to the grave.
Alright.
Then I'll set a card face down. And I'll pass back to you.
Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But I have this card.
That is worst case scenario. Yeah, that's fine. So this it goes to my hand.
It goes to your hand.
You didn't say
Then
anything?
Yeah, since this is the end phase, I'm going to set these guys,
Draw 2 cards.
draw 2 cards.
And special summon the king, which hopefully you just drew 2 copies just now and then, right?
Unfortunately,
Damn, you're a good worm player. What the hell? All right.
yeah, doing great for myself, right? For myself right now.
This is looking pretty good.
Okay. Okay, I'll flip summon this Zex.
Sure.
Now, how greedy do I want to be here? I mean, if you have a bad hand, you had Darkhold, probably could have used it.
Can Yagon bounce your own monsters? Can you bounce?
No,
Zex?
it just bounces opponent's monsters.
Dang, that card could have been way better.
I'm going to summon King Tiger Wangu.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And I'll attack with Wangu.
We'll take the 17.
I'll attack with Zex.
I'll take the 18.
I'll attack with King.
Take 27.
Go to my main phase 2, and I will
Set a Fortress of back row, including another W Nebula.
Yeah, I think I'll just take it easy, set just 2, and you go ahead.
Alright.
Nice Treeborn Frog, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna activate it, we'll special summon it, and then it dies, but I'll loop that until they call time in the round. We'll take the draw. Okay. And I'm pretty sure I can't econ like steal this, right? Like by
Yes,
tributing a tree more.
you could, because Tiger Wangu is a trigger effect.
Okay, because I think I might do that. I think I have to. So
Alright.
we'll use econ to steal. I'm just debating on what I want to steal. I think I'll take your Worm King.
Alright.
Dang, if you didn't have King Tiger Wangu, this would be so good. I guess we'll go to main phase, and I'm going to tribute him off for Mobius. Try to pop both these.
Yeah, it's going to be met with Bottomless Trap Hole.
Yeah, okay. We still at least kill the 2 cards, but I kind of just lose anyway. So we'll go to game 3. Alright, game 3 going first. What could possibly go wrong, right? Okay. This is actually pretty decent, I won't lie. We actually have a playable hand here.
Great.
But, question is, how do I want to...
Question is, can your hand summon Bryanak?
Oh, it can summon Bryanak, technically. Well, I guess we'll just start. We'll pitch to special summon Swap Frog, and I'll activate Swap Frog's effect.
That is fine.
I will dump a Ronin. And then I think I'm gonna banish to special summon.
All right.
I'll tribute these two
For Light and Darkness Dragon.
for the
Oh,
the card, the boy. And I'm gonna use his effect to get all the bricks out of my deck. Do I get
yes.
Veilered? Oh wow, we made it! Alright. I will special summon Oystermeister, Golden Flying Fish, and we'll do this. I will attempt Golden Flying Fish's effect. It can't resolve, but we'll tribute to get the token. Then we'll synchro for 5 and make a librarian. And I will sync.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering what do you mean can't resolve? Yeah, Coelicant negates the effect, yeah.
Yeah. And then I will sync 8 for a Stardust. And I get to draw a card. And that is my turn, so that's not terrible. I will happily take that.
Right on time, not really. Okay, I do have options. Are they good options? That is another question.
Yeah.
So Treeborn's gone. You have one Ronin.
Yeah, I did have to banish the Treeborn to do it, but I felt like this board was pretty worth because it's kind of hard for you to out.
Yes.
Oh god.
Yep. And that's your go.
Now see, if I see Heavy Storm and you don't have exactly Judgment set, it's actually kind of OP. Alright. Standby main phase.
Yes.
I will declare the effect of Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth.
Coelicant. But
There
that
we
is
go.
fine.
I'll pitch one. And I will special summon the King Shark and yet another Royal Swamp Eel. Then I will synchro for a Scrap Dragon.
Okay, here I will definitely have to think about this. I don't think I really have a choice. I'll activate Solemn Judgment.
Ooh. Alright, fair enough. Huh. Alright, we're going to tribute this guy for Caius. And I'm going to target your set monster.
Oh, no. That is fine.
Attack for 24.
24 is good.
Attempt game.
It is game.
No way! No
Yep.
way did Fish just win! What is the back row?
I mean, there was an argument to Vanity, the effect of the Coelicant, but Vanity's emptinessing when you're going to lose it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
to lose it to the active board is rarely the good option.
Yeah.
So I held it. The other was Nebula, which isn't that great in that situation. And
Yeah.
I did have Dark Hole, so the whole idea was to try and get you to attack in a way that I do not die, and I can bounce Stardust Dragon so that I can Dark Hole you in the next turn.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely planning on playing around the Yagon because I figured that had to be what it is. I did technically have Veiler, so I think I would have sooner not attacked. I also had the Swap Frog, which was like kind of good because I could get Treeborn back online, but I knew that I needed to. Ooh, you got the young brick boy.
Yes.
Wow.
If I was living, the plan was working.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, we had the Wagyu. Yeah, true.
yeah.
No, I mean it's not bad. I don't blame you for holding the vanities. It's just it's a really tough spot because either way, I mean even if I were to, yeah, I see. Because like if I attack, it's definitely not game. But I guess I would have had to attack with exactly Stardust Dragon to play around the Yagan, which means you have to bounce like Librarian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. I'm impressed that I managed to get the thing, but you know that's like that's the beauty of fish, or I guess the risk versus reward, right? You know, you resolve the deep sea coelacanth, you're winning the game. You know, probably.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and like you had the play on the very first turn, which is usually not what happens with this deck. Like first turn is usually devoted to setting up with Swap Frog
yeah,
and probably passing on a clear field, getting hit a bit, and then summoning Qualican on the second turn. And now you
yeah,
really had the way to do it on the very first turn. That's a different story. Like
yeah,
most decks would have difficulty handling just this board. Even let's say agents in this format, like they have
yeah.
a setup turn. But if you're already facing three threats, that's like making Gachi's not doing a lot because it's already being contested by everything that's on the board. So it's not like
Yeah,
the fish deck is inconsistent, but when it does its thing, I mean it wins.
yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, just the fact that I was able to, yeah, like you said, go off turn one. Like, there's only a few scenarios where that's actually possible, but it requires either Swap Frog or I believe. I mean, I think every situation requires Swap Frog and one for one, like maybe one for
Yeah.
one. But yeah, either way, I mean that was a pretty good upset. I like I said, I even told you before we started recording, I expected Worms to just crush this matchup. The Wangu side was like phenomenal against me, so I think I like the thing about Worms is they're really good at preventing plays from happening or dealing with things and or like simplifying the game state and keeping it simplified. But it's kind of like you said, like if this deck can go off like or if it's faced with like a big board immediately, it kind of struggles. I was worried about exactly Dark Hole. I was tempted to make the Scrap Dragon turn one to make it stick, because I knew that would help me play around your set monsters. But I was worried about exactly Dark Hole. I was like, if I get Dark Hole, I lose, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
so it's probably better to just use the Stardust Dragon and then never attack with it, like you know, play around Deep Prison and then just like just use my other two guys, especially knowing that I could resolve Super Ancient Deep Sea Coelacanth again the next turn. Such a long name.
Yeah, just one last thing I want to add. Like the worm deck, you guys that are watching could see. If you are ahead, Nebula Meteorite is an absurd card. But if you are behind, it becomes a worse compulsory evacuation device.
Yeah,
Because your monster is not going to survive, so you lose the second and third part of the effects. So you're basically just trading your Yagan effect during the damage step when it's going to be attacked for doing it earlier. And then Yagan's going to be destroyed anyway during that battle later on. So when there's multiple big bodies, you're kind of stuck.
yeah. Do you think if there's anything that you personally would change after playing the build? Like, would you cut anything or like try something different?
Not really. I think the build was pretty great. One of the things we did do back in the day was playing Gen X Ally Birdman. As a way to summon Gen X Triforce from the extra deck,
Yeah,
recycling Cardaroses and Worm Xexes. So aside from that, like I think I didn't draw all that much the reactive traps. So yeah, game one I was pretty flooded with monsters. Like,
yeah.
and that's the bane of every of those
Any control deck.
those control deck. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you get flooded with monsters, you kind of lose. Like probably TG has the same role as Worm in this metagame, but probably doing it better because it plays less monster and they have just to draw one.
Yeah.
Whereas with worms, you have to draw one, and they don't float into other monsters. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
kind of
that's true.
need to get them. Nebula is the one that bridges the gap between, but as you've seen in this game, it's not as great when you're behind. Like, even if I was surviving and clearing this board, I would have been left with pretty much nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the Nebula looked insane in game 2. I guess, would you be able to chain the Nebula to the Caius effect on the Yagan? It's like a -1, but it bounces the Stardust, right?
That's the thing. Like, if you target the Yagan and you activate Meteorite, Yagan gets flipped face up, and then Caius banishes it, and then it's not on feeling. It's not where it should have triggered.
Yeah.
So it will never trigger.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, but still. Damn. All right, well, thank you for coming out and playing last minute, and letting us get an episode up this week. I really did not expect this outcome to happen, but I'll take it. We're still on my wins. I'm on a win streak right now, so we got to keep that going. But yeah, thank you, Dave.
My pleasure. So if anything, you can invite me again, and let's wish Joe some happy holidays.
Yeah, true. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Tournament of Tournaments. Shout outs to Dave for coming in and subbing in for Joe. Joe was too busy with his family this week for Thanksgiving. So I really appreciate him coming in last minute so I could throw a video together so we could, get a new episode for you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Hope y'all had a good holiday. But yeah, as a reminder, we release new episodes of this series every single Friday, so make sure you guys are subscribed so you can be notified when we release the next one. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you guys have a great time dueling today.